Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Accent Training Podcast, a podcast where I teach you how to express your thoughts and your ideas in English just as confidently as you do in your own language or your own culture. My name is Pat. I'm your personal American accent coach, and today's episode is directed towards my listeners who speak languages from India. That's right, there are a lot of Indian people who I know listen to this show. So I'd love to give you folks some direct attention and make sure that you know one simple trick that you can do to make all of your spoken English more understood. Because there's one tongue movement that makes all the difference between clients of mine who are from India, between those that succeed in developing American-sounding English, and those that do not succeed. Once you start to use this movement, there will be a serious boost in how confidently Americans understand everything that you say, because you'll be using the tongue position that reflects their own. So you gotta make sure to listen to this episode all the way through so that you know exactly what to do and how to develop this position. Let me tell you what it is. The position that we use for the letters T, D, N, and L is different in American English than what you use in India. So if you're using Bengali or Hindi mouth movements when you're pronouncing these sounds in English, miscommunications are going to happen. Languages of India naturally press the tip of the tongue to the roof of the mouth for the letters T, T, D, D, N, N, L, L. When you curve your tongue like that, it makes a little pocket for the air, and the letter T, T, which sounds like a T in the American accent, sounds more like D, 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 D. And the letter N, N, sounds like N, N. And L, And these sounds just don't fit the patterns that Americans are using. Now, English speakers use a position that's a little closer to the teeth. American English speakers have the tip of their tongue touching the bump just behind the teeth. T, t. At the most, you could even say the roots of the teeth. The roots of the teeth is okay. In that area where the roots of your teeth meet the ridge behind your teeth, the alveolar ridge. T, t. When you put your tongue in that position, the curve of your tongue doesn't collect much air. It isn't like a pocket, like when we get duh, duh. Instead, t, t, touching the bump behind the teeth, what we call the alveolar ridge. In the long run, if you start to use that position, all of your spoken English will get clearer because you'll be projecting your voice clearly in the vowels, and you'll be making American consonant sounds the way that Americans are also making consonant sounds. So a major change that speakers of Indian languages can make is to move the tip of your tongue forward just a bit more with the letters T, D, N, and L. T, D, N, L. Now, as your personal American accent coach, I have to tell you, developing this will take practice. You know the information right now, but it's going to take repetition for your muscles to get used to that change of position. And so I recommend, for lifetime results, you practice each of those sounds individually for 3 weeks each. 3 weeks T, 3 weeks D, 3 weeks L, 3 weeks N. In that order. In my experience, this order works well because it focuses on the most versatile sounds from the beginning and leaves the most difficult to the ending. The point here is this. If you want to learn the American accent to enhance your English, these skills are absolutely within your grasp. The quality of your communication is up to you, and that's the bottom line. Now, to those of you who are most dedicated here, I'm going to include in the description of this podcast episode a free little PDF that I wrote with some visuals so that you can visualize clearly the exact sounds that you need to be working on here and the exact position that you've got to develop to get that clearest American accent sound. Well, it's been a pleasure to introduce you to this new way of looking at speaking English today, and I sincerely hope that you manage to take a couple of these notes and express yourself clearer when you're using English for the rest of your life. Have a good one. Hey everyone! If you want to use English just as confidently as you use your first language, then check out the free accent training guide that I'm leaving in a YouTube link in the description of this podcast episode. And I'll show you the step-by-step approach that I take all my clients through to learn the American accent without wasting a second of your time.